I finally built my Zygarde for Open Ultra League, and let's see what we have going on for today's content, as we're gonna pair up our Zygarde with a Poliwrath up in front and a Cresselia as a safe switch to meta relevant Pokemon, and of course with Zygarde's power we can excel a lot in Open Ultra League. What I want to share with you is that this is the 50% form of Zygarde, not even the complete form, because that one needs a lot of excels that I currently do not have and I cannot grind at all. So anyways, able to get destroyed down by the Giratina with the Dragon Breath, which caught me off guard. I was expecting the Shadow Claw, to be fair, and anyways right after we're having now that Ice Wind to do massive damage on their end. At the back they have a Virizion, so now Cresselia can go in completely walling down that Pokemon. Those Leaf Blades can easily be taken, and as it seems this is all they can throw. Another Leaf Blade is imminent. This is not gonna do a lot of damage, and we can answer back at them with a heavy hitting Future Sight. Yes trainers, we're not gonna use Grass Knot at all on our Cresselia, and this is kind of a drawback on our team. If you have a Grass Knot version, because it is legacy right now, feel free to use it. It definitely helps, especially with this team against Jellicent, and you need to get that coverage against water types. Anyways, now Poliwrath is gonna go in, able to snipe down with the Skull, then farm down Giratina, and of course now they stand no chance at all up against our Poliwrath. Poliwrath against the world, against the next battle, and we're having up against our Poliwrath that amazing Pidgeot. So yeah, Feather Dance can easily be taken here, while we can do still some decent damage with the Ice Wind. Switching out immediately to our Cresselia because we're getting severely weak to those wing attacks, and after the debuff we do not like our odds. We managed to get kind of a weird matchup against this Annihilate, and right after they block our Moonblast, now we can get the chance to destroy them down with a simple Future Sight. So much damage on their end. Shadow Ball now can easily be taken, while we can still farm down in the process. Annihilate is down, they are down, one shield as well, so now let's see how they want to respond. They're having the Skeletor, so perhaps they did kind of a bad switch, as it seems. Perhaps that was a mistake, but I'm not sure. Anyways, they can still farm me down, which is kinda good for them, I guess, but at this point all I care about is my Zygarde for the end game. So here comes now the Disarming Voice, which we can tank on the Poliwrath, and we're gonna keep those shields for our Zygarde. As you can see here, I managed to block the Feather Dance, which is not that great, and now that we are shieldless we definitely expect that Brave Bird to hit us for massive damage. Can we survive though? I think we can, because Zygarde is such a beast defensively. It can survive pretty much anything. Look at the Brave Bird, absolutely awesome, and Skeletons now will fall down to our debuffed Crunch, because at this amount of HP that they have we can easily grab this victory. Poliwrath now up against another Flyer. We cannot catch a break at all, and we're still gonna keep going here all in with the Ice Wind. But first we need to respect the damage from the Dragon Claw, and now that we can debuff them right after, I'm not gonna stay in. Instead I will switch out to my Cresselia and see how they want to respond. Just remember that sometimes they're gonna hard counter you with that Talonflame or Charizard, and of course with the Future Sight we managed to avoid that. So if you have a move like Grass Knot, it is gonna help you against Jellicent, but with that Future Sight you get extra coverage against the fire types, which is pretty great. Another move is coming up, but look at how low we have already left that Charizard. They can finish us off, and now Poliwrath will return into the battle. All we have to do here is to charge up to the move and grab their final shield. So I'm just gonna let that move go through. It ends up being the Dragon Claw, and of course we're gonna be left with so little HP. So perhaps now all we need to do is to switch out to our Zygarde and try to snipe down this Combalion with a simple Earthquake. Can we do it? I do not remember, but yes trainers, we can. Absolutely awesome. What a damage output that was, and right after we can easily farm down. Now all we have to do is to bring them to no HP with those Dragon Tails, but we cannot, and this is gonna be a very close loss that we just had against a very nice team. Into the next battle now, and we're having a Sunslash up in front. This is obviously a very good one for our fighter. Finally we get a very good lead for our team, and on the switch we're meeting up with a Tentacruel. So this Pokemon is always troublesome, especially with those Scalds, but hopefully the first one will not apply the debuff and we can answer back at them with a heavy hitting Future Sight once again. So before I told you that Groudon is gonna be pretty good against Jellicent, but you're gonna miss on so many good matchups with that Future Sight, and yeah, Tentacruel is one of those few. So now they're having Sunslash coming in, and of course my Moonblast will be my main way to go over here. Of course we're gonna get farmed down at some point, but it doesn't matter because still we can come back at them with our Poliwrath, and those counters are gonna be super effective. And right after we're having now the switch out to that Giratina, which means that Zygarde can start putting up some work. So here comes now the first crunch from my part, and of course once again they have Dragon Breath on that Giratina. This is not looking that promising right now, but I'm pretty sure that we can farm down if we can block over here. So down they go, and now we're having the crunch to deal a lot of damage on their end. They're gonna risk it for the biscuit, but still they have nothing to throw here. We're just gonna be able to farm down, so they back out. Griden now is a positive lead for us, and on the switch we're meeting up with a Gliscor, which is a troublesome Pokemon to say the least. So here comes now my Icy Wind to grab the shield for sure, because this is double super effective and they do not want to get hit by a move like this. And now on the switch we're just gonna bring our Zygarde. I know that Zygarde is still gonna have a positive matchup against Griden, but I have a feeling that they might be having something like a fighter on the very end of this battle. That's why I want to have my Cresselia as my closer over here instead of my Zygarde. Earthquake is gonna come up, but after the debuff from the Icy Wind we can easily survive, and of course Zygarde is kinda defensive, so we can absolutely survive even those nukes. So now this Griden is gonna be able to reach to the Body Slam. I could easily reach here to my Crunch, but I decided to go for the extra mana and the Earthquake, but my opponent perhaps knew what was coming up, that's why they threw. And we stand correct, because at the back they have Annihilate, which is absolutely awesome for us. The first move will go through, because I have a feeling that even a Shadow Ball can easily be taken. This is how bulky Cresselia is. We can answer back at them with a heavy hitting Future Sight. Look, the Annihilate getting annihilated down, and right after we're having the return of the Griden for the final time on this battle. Moonblast is gonna deal not enough damage, but still we can apply the debuff, and they do not want to spend any more time on this effort, so we're just gonna take this victory because they back out. Into the next battle, as we're having now the Poliwrath on the mirror. They want to go for the early Icy Wind, which is kinda understandable, but I'm just gonna keep the energy and then switch out to my Cresselia. Unfortunately for us here, we managed to get kind of a mediocre matchup against this Snorlax, so all I want to do at this point is to go ahead and go now for my Future Sight, because you saw how little damage my Moonblast did over here, and I'm expecting them not to expect that Future Sight up next. So much damage on their end, and all I want to do at this point is to completely farm down with my Psycho Cuts, but to do so perhaps I need to sacrifice a shield in the process. Here comes now my first shield into the game. We managed to get the farm down, and now we're just gonna go for the Moonblast on whatever follows. Good news for us, they have a Giratina, and this time finally they have the Shadow Claw version. Now Poliwrath is gonna come into the battle, as we're having the Zygarde aligned perfectly with that Giratina. After applying the debuff here, this is gonna be pretty good for us, because we managed to survive whatever they throw up next. So right after we have the Scald for not massive damage, but still enough to farm them down with a few counters later. So at this point they're kinda obliged in going for the Dragon Claw to finish us off, otherwise we can easily go ahead and bring them to not no HP, but still do a lot of damage with a Ice Wind. Now Dragon Tail is gonna be the key fast attack that we need for this matchup, and in combination with the Symbol Crunch we can absolutely farm down in the process. Into the final one now, trainers, and we're having a Swampert up against us. If we are not careful here on the Earthquake, things can easily go sideways, so I decide to go for the early Icy Wind so that I can debuff them and then the Earthquake will not hurt at all. My opponent was expecting this because right after they respawn with a weird switch to Registeel, and this is still fine for me. I'm trying to catch here the Zap Cannon, as it seems we can do it on that Zygarde, so little damage on our Pokemon, and right after we can do a lot of work with a simple Earthquake. But first I will try to farm up a little bit extra over here because we can do it, so why not go for the extra farm. Earthquake now for the knockout against Registeel, and Swampert will be able to finish us off before we reach to a crunch. Now this Swampert has a lot of energy to spare. I'm expecting the Earthquake here, that's why I decide to block, and right after, as you can see, they managed to get to the bait. It doesn't matter, my Icy Wind now will grab the final shield out of play. Talonflame is at the back. The battle is definitely not over yet, but I know that I can definitely count on the future side at some point to go for the nuke and the massive damage output on that KFC bird. The Kentucky Fried Chicken bird is just gonna go ahead and throw another flame charge, but we can easily survive while we can still reach to another future site for big damage. At this point, the Swampert has to throw the remaining energy that they have. They cannot farm down at all, which will give us more time to go in there with the Poliwrath, and of course by blocking once we can easily farm down without spending a sweat. That is gonna be all for today, trainers. Thank you for watching and for staying till the end of this video. Before you go, subscribe to the channel if you are new to my content, and please leave a huge like before it, because it helps my video here grow a little bit more on YouTube. With that said, now I'm having for you 2 videos to check out. Feel free to check them out, and I will catch you up later into the next one.